Well, good evening. This is just the start of what's expected to be a big week for the monsoon. This was the scene last night when a wall of dust rolled through the valley. We've now learned from ASU that it was a Category 3 dust storm. The university measures wind speeds and concentration of dust particles to categorize these storms.
So are we getting a repeat tonight? Team coverage as more storms are heading into the valley. And let's start. Lindsay's going to come up in just a second. Let's start with Sean Rice out in our weather tracker right now. Where are you, Sean? What are you seeing? I heard you just drove through some dust.
Yeah, we did, Troy and Mark. I wish you guys could have joined us only about 5 minutes ago because we were, for about a good 10 minutes, in the thick of a dust storm. We are heading on Highway 87 east of Coolidge back towards the valley to the northwest. And over here to our right, if I can move this camera just a little bit, you can see the wall of dust that is coming towards the valley, at least from our vantage point. We have come out of it at this point. So again, I wish you guys could have joined us 5 to 10 minutes ago, because all to my right over here is just that thick wall of dust that we were really driving through. Visibility was pretty low, maybe 100 yards to 200 yards of visibility. I would say it's heading potentially towards the Santan Valley area. So if you're living in Santan Valley, living in Queen Creek, take a look out to the south and see if you see some of that dust coming your way. Again, we're out of it now, but that visibility was pretty low. So it appears as though from our vantage point that a dust storm may be coming towards the valley. I'd be interested to see what some of the cameras facing to the southwest look like from your guys' vantage point. We'll send it back to you.
Sean, I'm sure it was windy when you rolled through there. How strong were the gusts?
The gusts didn't seem to be actually that bad. This seemed to be a very low-moving dust storm. It wasn't that major high wall of dust that we've seen in previous dust storms that we've covered. It seemed to be pretty low-moving. You could still see the sky a little bit, and winds honestly weren't that bad. But it's no secret that these dust storms accumulate. On either side of us was agricultural fields that was just completely dirt. So not a surprise that it accumulates in this area.
And they go for miles and miles and miles. Last night, the one we had started down in Casa Grande and then went all the way up to Wickenburg. I mean, if you put that together, that's what, 60, 70 miles maybe?
Yeah, they can be massive.
Yeah, and not I don't like looking at you, Sean, but can you drop your picture really quick? I'm trying to see if that's dust underneath your picture to the right. You know what I'm saying there? Yeah, I can see. Is that to the right?
If he could pan it a little more to the right,
it is.
we would see
look at that. That's the wall of dust right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there's that reflection off the inside of the windshield, but just right there, you can see that massive wall of dust.
That's pretty well defined too.
It really is.
And high.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of those things. Usually, like the height of the storm tells you about the power of it as well, right? That's how the dust was hit.
Yeah.
So hard and knocked up in the air.
Well, let's see what's going on with this storm and go over to Lindsay. And Lindsay, is it tracking this way?
It is, yes. We do have a dust storm advisory. Now, that is not as bad as a dust storm warning. So when you have an advisory, that means that the visibility typically remains above 1 mile. Once you get to the dust storm warning level, that's when you start to get it less than a mile. And in some cases, it can drop to 0. We still do have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings, and this is where the dust came from. This storm is actually weakening a little bit, even though the warning continues until 6:15. Damaging wind gusts possible. This is still east of the valley, 60-mile-per-hour gusts. But a lot of times when you have this weakening thunderstorm, the downdraft from the weakening thunderstorm will lift up that dust into the air. And that's why it's very common to see these dust storms, especially early in the season. You can see some of the rain now knocking on the door of Santan Valley. Queen Creek up next. Same thing with the Gold Canyon and Apache Junction. Rain, which could be moderate to heavy at times, moving toward your neighborhood. This is brand new. Dust storm advisory just issued at 5:55. It goes until 7:30. So these are the areas that will be impacted by that dust advisory. And you can see, at least for now, most of it is still to the south of the valley, but it's very possible, because that one cell that generated this is so large, that we could see additional development of more blowing dust, which could bring impacts to the valley. So we'll keep you updated on that, and also talk more about additional storm chances really all throughout this week. It's going to be very active. That's coming up in my weather impact forecast. Mark.
All right, Linz, thanks.